All right, we have Anthony Romero joining us. He remained undefeated with an impressive unanimous decision win over Mike Breeden on Dana White's Contender Series on Tuesday night. One of the standout performances of the entire season in a lot of people's minds, but didn't end up with that elusive UFC contract after it was all said and done. Anthony, thank you for joining me this morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So you go into Las Vegas, into the Apex, compete on the big stage on ESPN Plus, TSN in Canada. Don't want to leave them out, but you did so against a really game opponent. You came out with a pretty one-sided win, and quite honestly, a lot of buzz as well. I guess, how would you describe the feeling now that you've returned home to Canada after going through this experience?
It's definitely put salty taste in my mouth, bitter taste in my mouth. It's a weird feeling. It's not often that you win a fight and then you go home a little bit disappointed. So that was definitely weird in my part. But other than that, I'm proud of my performance. I felt I did a great job. I felt I did not enough. I felt I did more than enough. I showcased all my skills, and you can't finish every fight you see. And unfortunately, I didn't get the contract, so
I mean,
it's all good.
I thought you looked great in the fight. I thought you looked great physically. I mean, did you focus on strength and conditioning over the last year or so? Because you looked bigger from the last time that I spoke with you. I mean, is that accurate?
No, actually, I don't really do strength and conditioning, but I'll tell you this is that my weight cut was super easy. Um, Probably the easiest one I've had out of all 8 fights now. So yeah, that's all I can say about that. But yeah, no strength and conditioning.
So it's that Canadian Romero metabolism that we're talking about.
Yeah,
I need to get some of that. I was like, man,
yeah.
he looks huge. Like you looked bigger from the last time I saw you fight. But in terms of in the cage, like you're super technical. Obviously, you're physically strong. And I thought, Mike, in terms of your growth and development, this was a perfect test for you and an excellent step up. And also, Mike was a guy on a super impressive run of highlight reel finishes, and you were able to sort of neutralize him for the most part in that fight. Through your first 8 pro fights, is it fair to say that Mike was the toughest opponent you faced?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And even before I knew that going in, he knew that as well. We did a couple interviews and stuff, and we were both very respectful, and we knew what we signed up for, what we were getting into, and especially on this show, it's like the top prospects coming in, the best of the best, trying to get into the UFC. So I didn't expect it to be an easy fight at all. I expected it to go pretty much exactly how it went. Very technical, very a lot of feints being thrown, and yeah, unfortunately I didn't get the finish, but yeah, I felt I was super dominant in that fight.
Yeah, I'm sure you have your finger on the pulse as well. I mean, you said you were checking out you heard some of his interviews, and a lot of people heading into the fight when they were previewing the card, they said like this isn't just a Contender Series fight. This is like a UFC fight. Like this is a UFC level kind of a fight. Were you hearing that sort of chatter, and if so, did that put any extra pressure on you?
Well, I knew that going in. I listened to I like to listen to interviews and stuff like that after my fight of my opponent, just because I like to see what he said and stuff like that. I don't want any different energy going in and stuff like that. Just focus on myself. So just like on the plane ride home, I'd look at the interviews and see what he said. And like I said, he's very respectful. Kind of the same mindset as me, I guess you could say. Is he was going in knowing what he was getting into, and you could see the fight was very technical. Not too many like just random shots being thrown. They were very calculated, and yeah, it was a great fight. I had a lot of fun in there. That was one of the most as much fun as I had in a long time in a fight.
Have you gone back and watched it?
Oh, I watched it so many times now. I love it though. It's not one that you watch it and it dies down. I watch it and I'm like super entertained in watching it, which is why I'm surprised. And I'm very critical of myself. You can ask my coaches even after my fight went to the back. I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done this and this better. Just because I'm always wanting to get better, right? And I watched the fight and I'm like, oh, that was good, that was good. And I keep saying it. I don't doubt myself. That was a great performance.
the leg kicks were a huge weapon for you. They were brutal. You had Paul Felder cringing at different points throughout the fight, especially in the third round. I thought like maybe 3 or 4 times after you were landing leg kicks in that third round and he was hobbled, I thought the referee was going to stop the fight. There were a couple that he kind of keeled over a little bit, and I thought the ref was going to step in. Were you thinking the same thing? Did you think he was going to step in and stop the fight?
Yeah, but I knew Mike was tough, and I just kept chopping. That's the thing I didn't understand is that Dana White was making it seem like I wasn't trying to finish the fight. I kept kicking him. I kept kicking. You could see my shins now; they're super swollen, and I just kept kicking. And he's just a tough guy. A lot of people just would have went down and it would have been finished. But yeah, it was a big game plan that me and my coach Lyndon were working on, and it paid off. But he's a super dangerous guy, and I can't be reckless, especially at this level, to throw a kick, see him hobble, whatever, and then next thing you know, he's throwing big power. So I'm the genius and I'm smart, but yeah. That's my style, and that's how I am.
Yeah, it was a super entertaining fight. You got the decision. 2 judges gave you all 3 rounds. One gave you a 10-8 somewhere sprinkled in there, and then you got a 29-28 from the third judge. But the performance was of UFC caliber. A lot of people would say that. Most people in the media thought that you were pretty much a shoo-in to get a contract. Mike, some people even thought Mike should have gotten a contract the way he was able to persevere and get through the entire 15 minutes. When the fight was over, were you feeling confident that this was inevitable, that you were walking out of there with a contract on Tuesday night?
Like I said, I felt like my performance was more than enough to get a contract, but you can never be certain with Dana and what he says. Some days he gives 5 contracts when you don't think anyone deserved it, and then some days only one person gets. It's just something you just gotta wait and see, and I guess that's what makes the show exciting. Unfortunately, I had to get the short end of the stick.
Yeah, so you're sitting in the back in the director's chair, so to speak, and Colin Huckbody gets his contract, and then Dana goes to you and talks about your performance, said that you're young, you're super talented. He pointed out that you weren't, like you talked about, you weren't able to finish Mike on one leg, you were going for takedowns, etc. He then said, you'll be in the UFC someday, just not tonight. And man, that was surprising to me and a lot of other people. When you heard that and he passed on you, like, what is going through your mind at that point?
Oh, this is my heart, and it went boom. Oh, it was honestly, it was a terrible feeling. I went there on a mission to get that contract, and I didn't get it. It was taken away from me. When there could have been many reasons for him to say, yeah, come on down, come get your contract, but he chose to pick the negative stuff, and then it made me a little bit, I guess I don't want to say upset because I don't like to be angry, but I guess upset that the next guy, same thing, decision, same age as me, and then he gets a contract. I'm like, okay, well, something's up, but whatever, I accept it. When I got to my hotel, I had a smile on my face. I was good. I'm happy that I'm healthy. And I won. I'm still undefeated, and there's lots to come in the future. So,
what felt worse, Dana turning you down, or seeing the next 3 winners get contracts as well, and you were the last guy sitting back there?
To be honest, it was kind of weird just sitting there by myself when I knew that I deserved the contract, but it's just you can't do much about it. You can't go try to convince them again. I had my opportunity, and I just gotta wait to see what's next. But yeah, I think it felt pretty weird sitting back there by myself when I knew in my heart that I deserved that contract.
Yeah, I mean, you got the win. You had a great performance. But I guess if you can find a silver lining in it all, a moral victory, if you will, it was pretty consistent across the board that you got hosed. Like, almost everybody on Twitter was like, what? Like, how is this possible? And this seems to happen every season at least once. Like, we saw it with Austin Vanderford. We saw it with Brendan Loughnane, Tom Lee, Chris Curtis, and others. Like, those are the few that come to my mind. This season, it's you for sure. You feel like you should have gotten a contract, but can you say, like, I got hosed? Like, do you believe that you got the big fat hose job on Tuesday night?
I believe so. Yeah, like I said, I'm confident with my skills. I'm confident with my performance. and I deserve to be in the UFC. Unfortunately, it's not through the show, but I've said many times before in interviews that if it's not on that night, I'm gonna get there. It's inevitable, and I'll be on the UFC for sure.
After it all goes down, Dana is in the back speaking with the media, talks about why he didn't sign you, reiterated his stance, and also went as far as to say, listen, if you're another promoter, you need to snatch this guy up and develop him and make him a world champion. Like, and we've heard him say that about other guys in the past. What did you make of those comments? Like, he was just like, if you're Bellator or some other promoter, like, you'd be an idiot not to watch the show and pick up these pieces here. What did you think of him making those comments about you?
Yeah, it was definitely a weird comment. I didn't really understand it. He was saying that I'm young. So are some other guys that he's picked up. They're young as well. I'm fighting people. The guy was older than me that I fought. So it's not like I can keep up with people older in age. He was tough. There's tough people in the UFC. So there's many reasons why I should have got a contract. And for some reason, maybe he wasn't on vacation the weekend before or something like that, like he has in other season or other episodes. But yeah, he didn't. He wasn't, I guess, impressed. Or impressed enough. And yeah, he just didn't feel like it.
So, I mean, obviously there's a couple of different ways you can go, right? Like the other guys that he passed on that we mentioned, like they ended up signing with other promotions, like some signed with Bellator, like Austin Vanderfort's having a nice little run over there. PFL, Ton Lee went to ONE. He's doing well over there. So, I mean, you could go that option, and I'd be shocked if those other promotions aren't already calling you or planning on calling you. Or you could just keep plugging away, get another shot, get back on the radar, get into the UFC, and kind of show them that way. Either way, you have the chance to prove Dana White wrong here. What's your gut telling you right now? Like, are you open to all options, or are you just like, nah, I'm going to stay on this road. My goal was to get to the UFC. I'm going to stay on this track here.
Yeah, I'm open to other options, but like I've said before, that the UFC is my goal. And when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to quit. And I have no reason to not keep going towards that goal, because it's right there. There's been many people before who have won their Contender Series fight, and then next thing you know, they're in the UFC. Like Dan Ige, for example, he won his fight, didn't get a contract, and then the next fight he was in the UFC, which is weird. And then we just saw a guy fighting Ricardo Lamas, Algio. He just fought on CFFC. He was on the Contender Series, and now he's in the UFC. So I know very, very soon I will be in the UFC. It just I have to be patient and enjoy my time and wait for that call.
Did you have any conversations in the back with any of the matchmakers or with Dana personally after the fact, or did you just find out about the contract, and then just head out of there and head back to the hotel?
No, I just went back to the hotel. When I walked by them after my fight, I said, "Thank you guys for the opportunity. I really appreciate it." And that was pretty much it. All the time that I had to talk to them. But yeah, I think that's all I need to say. I shouldn't have to use my words to convince them. It should just be my skills in the cage. So.
Yeah, I didn't know if one of the matchmakers came up to you and was like, "Listen, man, just keep your head up and just keep plugging away. You'll be back." I wasn't sure, but if they, I know you just had a hard fight, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If they invited you back, like let's just say like a spot opened up next month, maybe the last card of the season, which I believe is like October 3rd or something like that. Are you able to jump on that? Would you take it and get back out there, or do you need some more time?
Oh, I'm ready to go. I'll take the opportunity in a heartbeat, and I know that it's gonna come. I just gotta be patient, and it's just a little like a super small bump in the road, because I won, right? It's not like I lost my fight. So super small bump in the road, and anyone who's ever been successful has never just gone straight up, right? It's always been up and then down and up and down, and there's been little heartbreaks here and there. So I'm just accepting it and just excited for what's to come.
What's kind of funny is, outside of maybe Michael Chandler on this Thursday morning as we chat, you might be the biggest free agent in the sport right now. Like, do you feel that way? Like, because I feel like your manager's phone is going to be ringing quite a bit here. Like, do you feel like you're on that level? Like, you're one of the biggest free agents in MMA right now after not getting a contract.
That's really cool. That means a lot. Yeah, like I'm waiting to hear what Matt Dodge is gonna say or get back to me. And yeah, I'm honored to be on that show, to have that type of platform, and to show what kind of skills that I have. That I'm not just a regional show fighter, that I can get to that next level. And yeah, I should have been there, but just gives me more time to get a little bit better. And yeah, feel bad for the next guy.
What's the biggest thing you're going to take away from this week? Like the experience in Las Vegas, like outside of the fight and not getting a contract, just being part of that machine, so to speak, and getting ready for that opportunity on a big stage. What are you going to take away from it the most?
I think the nerves. Oh, the nerves are crazy. If you can imagine, so many people are watching. But yeah, when like this is a big goal of mine. I've talked about it so many times. And then to have it happen, it just felt surreal. Like I was dreaming. I woke up on fight day. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's actually here. Like it went by so fast. I found out in June, or the beginning of June, and now we're here August 25th, and I'm gonna fight for my dream. And yeah, you can ask my coaches there. I was just so nervous. I was like pacing in the hotel room, and it wasn't even we didn't even have breakfast yet, and I was just so nervous. But then once I started warming up, I felt good. I knew it was my time, and I have that experience to switch my mindset when I get in there, and yeah, great. The one thing I noticed is when there's no crowd, I feel so comfortable. That was awesome. It was super cool to hear my coaches, and I felt so relaxed in there, and I think that helped my performance. But if there was a crowd again, I don't think it would hinder it as well.
By the way, I wanted to shout out your little brother, Simon, 15 years old, grinding away, pun completely intended, with the interviews and all he's doing covering the sport. He's reached out to me and we've chatted behind the scenes, but I think what he's doing at his age is amazing. Your mom is doing the MMA media thing as well. The Romero family is making this like universal dent in the space between you fighting and them covering the sport. Like, how cool is that to watch and be a part of here?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so cool to have that connection with my family. Not a lot of people have that. I'm super proud of my brother behind the grind. He's just going, and I never would have imagined doing something like that at his age. And yeah, he's just working hard, and yeah, super proud of him. My mother as well, writing articles over and over again, and yeah, like I said, it's super cool to have that connection.
Absolutely, Anthony. Congratulations on the win. I know there's other things you'd probably rather be doing than recanting this, and because you did. I mean, I thought you got hosed. I'll say it again, but you do have a ton of buzz right now. I have no issue saying that you got screwed, and I know I'm not alone in that sentiment, but thank you for the time. Excited to see your career continue to progress and find out what is next for you, because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of options. But all the best to you and the rest of the family, my man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.